Welcome to The Inner Shift, where healing meets humanity and every story is a window into transformation. Hi, I'm Paayal Lal. I'm a conscious counselor and intuitive guide. And today's episode is not just a conversation. It's a reminder of what's possible when purpose finds its voice. I'm joined today by Afsana Cherion Kapoor, founder of People for Action and the force behind NAMHA, one of India's first 24/7 mental health helplines, started by a handpicked team of psychologists and of wellness experts. Afsana's journey has taken her from media and global advocacy to schools, to hospitals, and now the front lines of mental health awareness, offering dignity, access, and courage to thousands of people. Today, we explore what it means to lead with compassion, to respond to a crisis with clarity, and to totally normalize the conversations that save lives. This one's for every heart that wants to help and every soul that is still searching for safety. So I introduce to you Afsana Cherion Kapoor, a mother, a wife of a very, very socially active person, and a social activist, to say the least. Hi, Afsana.
Hi, Paayal. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here today.
Thank you so much. Your journey from media to advocacy is very, very inspiring. Afsana, tell us a little about yourself in your own words.
I'm Afsana Cherion Kapoor, and I'm a founder of a non-profit organization called People for Action, which is very close to my heart. And we run 6 schools for the underprivileged. We support women in giving them a livelihood skill. Mm-hmm. And very recently, we started a mental health initiative called NAMHA, which has touched many lives.
Absolutely. Mental health awareness, I think, is today's foremost important issues that we need to take care of. So, what was the first pull towards service?
Paayal, I've been working in communities from now almost 26 years. I started my career with television. Mm-hmm. I was with the BBC, I was with CNBC, I was with MTV, I went to ZTV, and then I was called by the UN to head their communications for North Southeast Asia on a topic that was very, very relevant at that time, that is HIV. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I was heading a team for communications for North Southeast Asia. Now in 90s, to take you back, HIV was huge. Everybody was pumping in money for HIV, stigma, HIV, human trafficking. So the journey started from there. And I think it's, life is a full circle. And I'm back today on working on mental health. And trust me, the issues remain the same. So working in communities, I've often heard people say, be strong, or please keep quiet, to people especially who are hurting from inside. Mm-hmm. And I strongly believe that barriers to silence is your first biggest obstacle to healing and prevention.
That's a very, very profound statement, barriers to silence.
Yeah, and I think, and here I am, so NAMHA started about 2 years back. And it started with me sitting on my chair and trying to chant.
I think during COVID, right?
Yeah, post-COVID. And I picked up the phone and I called my team. I said, hello, let's start this. They said, ma'am, we don't have capacity. We don't know how about. Mm-hmm. So I remember it saying very clearly that let's start, something will work out. So we got a toll-free number with 6 lines. And after that, what? They came to me and said, okay, this is it, up. So I said, now let's call psychologists and psychiatrists to come on board to help us run the helpline. So we got amazing response. We have about 40 psychologists and psychiatrists who work with us, not in India, but across Singapore, Canada, UK. And all these psychiatrists are really well known and doing really well. And then they said, what about advertising? How are we going to go and tell people that this is what we are doing? I said, you don't need to. We don't need to advertise. We are not here for marketing. People who need us will find us. And that's how the journey of NAMHA started. So stigma, stigma was one issue that we really helped target. That stigma around mental health is huge. Trust me, every second household today has an issue or is suffering in silence because they don't know where to go. The entire drill about being judged or stigmatized, and that word mental and pagal, they are very prominent in our world.
Absolutely.
And however educated we may be, how well informed may be, these stereotypes are always there. So this is how NAMHA started, and I think it's touching lives.
It's changing lives, it's saving lives, I would say.
Exactly. And it's not about education, it's not about training. It's about reaching out to a parent, to a child, to a mother, to a wife, to a man, and talking about dignity, identity, and making sure everybody knows that they matter. Their stories are powerful, their experiences are real, and they can make a difference. And while talking to them, we feel we can inspire so many people who are still living in their little isolation, trying to hide and suffering.
Trying to hide and suffering rather than talking about it because of the social stigma, because of the taboos, which is what is a very relevant point. Seek help. It is okay to ask for help. Whoever needs help just needs to reach out. You've created such a beautiful platform. 40 psychiatrists and psychologists. I think, if I'm correct, about you've touched 1,700 girls supporting schools. I have those statistics with me.
1,700 girls in each school.
In each school.
Wow. So we run 6 schools. Yeah, and they are from class 1 till class 12. They fall under the Haryana government. And it's formal education system.
24-hour helpline. It's a huge task. It's a long journey. What do you think has been the most humbling aspect of this journey?
I think this is something that you're not born with, and this is something nobody can teach you. It has to come from within. It's a kind of exposure you have to people who are not so entitled and privileged as we are. And when I started working in schools and I started meeting these young girls, and their eyes were sparkling and happy, and
so cute,
because they saw that we got the world to them, right? So I remember once earlier on when I started working with human traffic survivors, and I think that thing has always stayed with me, that one, so we were doing a big program across all the states of India and supported by BATA. So they told me that, they will help us train women so that they don't need to go back into sex trade. So I told them, see, my women are going to come to your workplace. They were like, there are going to be a lot of men and only men. So and that's when I said, that's it. Because my women need to regain their confidence as being a woman, not a sex trader. Let them go. So my 7 girls went there in Bata factories and started working. The program was for about 2.5 weeks. They came back. And then I got a call from Bata people saying, Afsana, we outsource souls at 1.50 paisa. I think we are going to put a machine in Sonagachi area where these women can make these souls and we'll buy them.
Wow.
So the initiative started with 7 women, and today we have about 325 women making enough money in that area and bringing up their children with dignity and full of dreams.
Wow.
So one of the girls that time came to me and said, you know, we are often told that angels ya Bhagwan hote hain. Huh? And we've always seen these things in temples and we've heard people talk, but I think the savior is only person who comes down and picks you up and has faith.
Wow.
So there are a lot of, there are a lot of things like that. When I go to school, the girls come up to me and saying, Afsana Didi, ek photo. I said, kyun? Kyunki I want to be like you when I grow up. So,
wow.
I mean, these are things that really get you down to believe that you have so much to offer.
And how do you stay grounded when you hear things like this, where people are comparing you to God and to messengers? How do you stay grounded?
See, I think my practice of Buddhism, I have been chanting from last 26 years. Mm-hmm. And I think in everyone's life, you need one dhal, mm-hmm. a dhal, a branch mm-hmm. to mm-hmm. hold on mm-hmm. to, mm-hmm. which will sail you through. Mm-hmm. And there we end up meeting a lot of people who are struggling with their own problems and other issues. And I think that Buddhism and chanting for 2 hours has just grounded me. These are my roots, which nobody can move. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess that, and I'm genuinely a very shy and a very soft person. There are times when I go and talk about myself and I pitch to a corporate to give us funding and they say, but you look too soft. How will you work?
They need to see some BTS videos on how soft and how gentle she is. Continue.
So that is it. What else you want?
Okay. Now you have grown up with the shadow, I would say, of a very famous father, very accomplished man. Then you married into a family of, where what I see is a complete opposite, where your husband loves to party, he loves to go out, you're forever traveling. How do you feel you have managed the shift, and how do you handle it with running so much of service work as well?
So let me start with my father. He has been a great experience in my life. He has taught me how to be intellectually more sound by not losing the child inside me. And he's been very powerful, very supportive, but at the same time, trust me, Paayal, it all has a lot of drawbacks as well.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
When you come from what people think is entitled and privileged family, you come with a lot of baggage. Because everybody, hopes to see you as somebody like them, who thinks like them, who talks like them, who dresses up like them. But no, this is not how things are. You got to be real, right?
You have to be yourself.
Yeah, you have to be real, you got to be unique. Yeah, at night when I go out with my husband, I dress up like a doll and look pretty. But that is, I think, what we do to make everybody happy, and that's the role of a woman. At home, you're a homemaker. With your children, you're a parent. With your husband, you're a wife. With your parents, you're a child. And when you're working, you're a leader.
And how do you manage all these roles, wearing all these hats? What does Afsana really resonate with the most?
So I often get this question when I'm asked that, how do you manage to get your time when you're juggling so much? Well, I do. I think my time is very important. For me, I get up in the morning. I don't do anything fancy and unique and breathing out and breathing in. I have my good cup of chai and I chant, and I just need that time to reflect and breathe, to know what's inside me, what's beneath me, and that's how I recharge myself on daily basis, because I know I have series of things to do and series of tasks to finish, and that me time is important because I realize that if you don't look after yourself, how will you serve others? How will you look after your family? How will you look after your child?
That's a very important point because most of us are, it's ingrained in us that a woman has to be the giver only. But what is very important to understand is that she is the pivot around which everyone revolves. So unless she is centered and she has her me time and she has ways to release, it is going to trickle down to everybody else and everything else that she does. So extremely important to find what you need to do, find that me time and take that time without feeling that you're being indulgent or selfish. And even if you are, it's okay.
Well, it's okay, but I feel okay. But I also get many times a question asked like, you are running whole day, you're working, you are supporting children, you are leading mental health initiatives, and when are you home to look after your children? And to be really honest, I'm going to tell you that it is difficult. I think sometimes I am just trying to hold it so tight altogether. But at the same time, I believe balance is not about doing everything together. Mm-hmm. It means that whatever you do that matters should be done with love and intent. So, perfection is not something I chase. Mm-hmm. I am just present. So when I am at work, I work with my full heart. When I am with my home, my family, my children, I give them my entire time and attention. And at the same time, I feel two beautiful things I've always told my daughters is that power of passion and purpose. These are the only things that's going to take you in life. Mm-hmm. So there are times when they see me working late, and that also means that I am making a difference. And when it matters, I have to be there with the family. I do it with full love and grace.
Most important, yes. We see that all the time. Okay. You've already shared with us what your daily practice is of staying centered, staying grounded. Being a woman in this industry, in the service industry, in the media industry, you've donned a number of hats. Do you think you've faced certain challenges being a woman?
Oh, of course. Yes. There are times, but unfortunately, I don't blame anybody because this is our social conditioning. You know, we are living in an ecosystem where women is supposed to be typical, right? And so it's very gender biased. I remember going to meetings and I would have to fight to be heard just because there are people and men who are trying to dismiss me for who I am. I have walked into meetings where people assume that I'm just helping, not knowing that I'm leading the team. So all these things do happen, and I don't think they would have happened if there was a man instead of me. But these challenges, I think, have never broken me, Paayal. They have only sharpened me. And I think it makes me more determined to make spaces for women, not only to be included, but respected and celebrated. We have the Shakti. We are the Shakti,
we
right?
Are Shakti.
Womanhood is beautiful. It's just that you got to be real.
Be real, be true to yourself, and you are Shakti.
Yeah.
Important points to remember. Now, I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. You often say you're not just creating access to help, you're creating access to hope. I'm quoting you on this. Now, what does that hope look for, like a girl in school or a mother in a remote community, or maybe one of the women that you've been helping who have been workers in the trade? So what does that hope look like for them?
Very tricky question. Huh? Okay, so I'll tell you, let me tell you with school. I think educating a woman is a most powerful tool. And we do have a lot of challenges when a child reaches grade 9. There are a lot of dropouts. And that's where the entire force of my teachers go house to house to tell and advocate for the reason of saying, please educate your girl child, right? So that is one. And I hope for them is giving them a hope and having trust that you will sail through it, whether you are privileged, whether you have no money, whether you have no resources, because we have one to give you. Where mental health and women are concerned, I'm going to tell you something very different, Paayal. So we get about 30 to 40 calls a day on our hotline, and every call is different. So the calls are only redirected to me when it's a very sensitive and a serious issue by senior psychologists. So just few days back, I got a call, a WhatsApp on my message saying I need help. And I could figure out the number is not India. And this girl was calling me from Canada. So we get a lot of calls from UK, Canada,
where the Indian
Netherlands to talk about, and women, only women, because they're undergoing so many problems and they don't have any place to go. So I asked, how can I help you? So she said, can I call? I said, call. So she told me, I need to get out. I said, okay, have you sought help? She said, I've been talking to NAMHA and my husband abuses me. I thought abuse is what we understand abuse is, right? And so I said, okay. And so she told me, he hits me. I said, okay. And so she said, Afsana, in our house, we don't have ashtrays.
Oh my God.
So I said, and for a minute I was like, no ashtrays? She said, at night, he has smokes and he stabs me at my back.
Wow, what an animal.
Imagine, right? And I said, what about your parents? So she said, I have nowhere to go. My parents have abandoned me. She comes from a small town next to Jalandhar. And she's given me the number. I said, I will definitely speak to your parents. I'll speak to your sister and we will see how we can get you back, right? And now we've asked her to get back, and 1%, even if the family does not get you back, or we will put you somewhere where you're treated, number one, and secondly, you're looked after. And that hope today has made her smile. I could feel that smile when she was talking to me. And it's not now, it's been on for the last 4 days. Just the other day we got a call, and Paayal, let me tell you, in India and worldwide, people think only women go through problems. Women are bacharis.
No.
There is nothing like women empowerment. It's about empowerment. So we used to get a call from a boy who's working in UK. Seemed like a very educated boy. And really doing well, works in a MNC. He called us and said, his first word was, I'm very ashamed. So we said, why are you ashamed? He said, one, I'm calling a counseling helpline. And secondly, I want to tell you that my wife hits me every day. She whacks the hell out of me every day, even if I don't pick up her calls, if I'm not taking children to school. And he says, whom do I go and talk to? Do I go and talk to my friends? They are going to say,
laugh at me.
They're going to laugh at me, they're going to mock at me. Or should I go and tell my parents, who are going to think this is what we have created you as a man, right? So for me, hope is when you are able to get through to us without having a face to talk where you're not judged.
Absolutely.
It's anonymous, it's real, and we are there to help you without any cost. It's free.
You're doing a great service. You're really doing a great service. And another important message that needs to go out, which she said, empowerment is not just for women. Empowerment is for all. Mental health issues are not gender specific. Men go through it a lot, and it takes a lot more strength for them to speak out because of these traditional biases. Please, anyone and everyone who needs help, please reach out. We have a wonderful platform over here. If not this, speak to anyone, someone, but do reach out before it is too late. Too late for you, too late for someone you know, too late for maybe a story of someone you've heard. So please reach out. Afsana, for you, how do you not let all this pain, how do you have the space to hold all this pain? How does it not overwhelm you? How does it not harden you?
Well, I don't think it's hardened me. I look at a tree, you see a mango tree. When it's a small tree, it's fine. And as the tree gets bigger and it starts having fruit, the tree bends. I think that's what my life is. That the more I am learning, the more I'm reaching out to people, the more experiences I'm having, I am only bending. And for me, bending is a bow down.
Wow. Wow. That's again, a beautiful, beautiful take. You said earlier, living under the shadow of your father was not easy. Was there a moment that you felt or you needed help to maybe handle all the pressures as well? And did you reach out for help?
No, I don't think I had challenges where I needed to reach out. I think everyone's journey is different and everyone has a baggage. And trust me, when you have that baggage, it's only you who can take charge of it. Nobody can help you. People may advise you, but in the end, only you know what is right and wrong. So where my father is concerned, he would tell me and I would keep listening. As a teenager, keep listening. And then after 10 days, you realize, okay, half an hour he spoke to me, I'll take that 2 minutes, which will help me. So that's what it is.
So you found your moments and you've used it to motivate you, to inspire you, to make you move forward.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing in my life has been that whenever I have reached a deadlock, or I have reached speaking to somebody where I'm not being heard, trust me, the sense of humor really works. So I just say something which they say, okay, now that's it, Afsana. I'm not going to talk to you anymore, right? So I think for every woman listening there, that you're not alone and you are just not anything. You are not just a mother. You are not just a daughter. You are not just a wife. You are something which is more than enough. So keep your head high and live fully for yourself with that dignity and that smile.
With the smile. From policy to podcasting, what is the legacy that you want NAMHA and People for Action to leave behind?
Empathy.
Wow, yes. Empathy, very, very
the
important.
The only legacy in world that any one of us can leave behind, it's not material wealth. It's not whose daughter I am and whose son I am and what I want to do. It's the legacy of good memories that you have created to change life.
And what is the advice you will give to your children? The one thing that you would want them to do about everything else?
The only advice I always give my daughter is follow your heart. And when your heart doesn't work, then reach up to your head. Because your head will only talk logic and your heart will only show you what you want to do. But working between a heart and a heart, your head, working between your head and a heart is a very lethal combination. So think carefully.
Find that balance. Find what works between your head and your heart and work through there, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Afsana, for the way you lead, for the massive amounts of love and empathy that you have and what you're creating for all of us. And thank you for the little bit of humor that you've left us with told us that humor is the best way to diffuse situations when there's no other way.
Exactly.
So not anger, but humor.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful take. I'm going to end today's segment with a little rapid fire. Just going to ask you a couple of questions. One word that defines your leadership style.
Freedom.
Lovely. A quote you return to when you feel the weight of the world.
Maintenance is cheaper than repair.
Nice one. And what does healing mean to you in today's world?
Help.
Very, very profound answer.
So when you spoke about my children, and when I go to my schools, I often sing one song very often. So I'm going to sing it for all the women listening me there, and I hope you can relate to it. I'm not a good singer, I can croak, but the message is important.
The message is important.
तुझसे नाराज नहीं, जिंदगी हैरान हूँ मैं, ओ परेशान हूँ मैं, जीने के लिए सोचा ही नहीं कि दर्द संभालने होंगे, मुस्कुराए तो मुस्कुराने के कर्ज उठाने होंगे. Thank you.
Beautiful. That's a song that this is movie I saw when I was a child, and it has stayed with me. And till date, when I listen to it, not only do I get goosebumps like I have right now, I think it brings a tear to my eyes. It brings a hope to my heart. Beautiful. Thank you, Afsana.
Thank you, Paayal.
If today's episode has touched you, if you know of someone who needs help, please reach out. We have said this throughout today's episode. Please ask for help if you need to. You can reach out to us at info by Eka by Paayal. You can reach out to us on Instagram. You can reach out to NAMHA. You can reach out to People for Action, but do reach out. And until the next time, stay grounded, stay blessed, stay soft.